Okay. I suppose there was a reason that it was stopped in the mid. Let us move once again. Yes, as we were talking about the non-verbal communication and especially the kinesis, what does kinesis mean? The kinesis involves the study of the body movement such as facial expressions, gesture, and the posture. Well, friends, you might have noticed that when you meet somebody and your one flicker of a smile gives the soothing atmosphere to that person, and you feel, yes, the person is really giving me the symbol of or the sense of happiness or the pleasure of welcome. But on the other hand, you might have noticed that when you reach somewhere and suddenly you find that the person's face is not really giving you the pleasure, you really feel not staying that place. So what exactly that means was it was the facial expressions, and this facial expressions is the part of the kinesis. Kinesis, gesture, posture. Now the question comes after this kinesis, means in this kinesis, facial expressions, gesture, and posture. That facial expressions includes smiling, frowning. You might have noticed this thing. Many of the people that when you are very angry, your eyebrows curves, and curving eyebrows itself indicates that you are angry. Even this is eye rolling, like you might have noticed that when you are at the time of the interviews or when you're talking to someone, it is usually said that have a proper eye contact, don't roll your eyes or pupils here and there. This eye rolling conveys some meaning. If you are not having a swift eye contact, it shows that you are not confident or you are just trying to avoid a person. Pulling down a lip corners, dropping upper eyelids indicates the sadness. Yes, you might have noticed, or you, if you have not, later or further, you just try to notice this. When somebody is really sad, you will be finding that the person is pulling down the lip corner or dropping upper eyelids. But on the other hand, when you show your anger, lips tight narrow, you will find that the face will be stern. There would be a very straight face, and glare in the eyes means it means that a sort of anger in eyes. Normally, this happens that when a child reaches home late and maybe possible father does not say anything, but he looks at child with anger. That particular look is called glare. That particular look is called glare. So these sort of facial expression gives the expression of anger. Now, if we talk about disgust, disgust means your antipathy towards something. Wrinkled nose, upper lips raised, exposing teeth. That shows disgust. Again, don't go for the books, don't go for my words, go for the practical life where you will find that when the person is not feeling comfortable at that particular place and he is showing his antipathy towards that place, you'll find his face. It it indicates that yes, the nose is wrinkled. It is you'll be finding that the wrinkling on the nose and upper lip is a bit raised towards upside and it exposes the teeth. Eyebrows raised and pulled together. Upper eyelids are raised, whereas lower eyelids are tense. That is the indication of fear. This is the indication of fear. Yes, sometimes we notice this and sometimes we don't notice this. But if you just put it in the practical life, you'll find these expressions are so common. These expressions are as common as your normal expression. You don't need to do by your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind will give this sort of expression. Like if I say surprise, you will be finding your mouth will be slightly open, and you will be having bulging eyes, because that time your brain wants to see that thing more and more, to recall that thing, and your knowing or unknowingly, your expressions will say that this is a surprise for you. Now let us talk about the gesture. Yes, some people call it gesture also. By gesture we mean arm and hand movement. Like in a day-to-day life, many people you will find having this sort of close gesture. This close gesture is basically the indication of not acceptance. Sitting like this shows that you are not ready to accept what is being said to you, because you feel that you are well aware of this thing, or you are not interested in this thing. This, see, again I'm saying, we don't do these things knowingly. We do all these things unknowingly, and in spite of our last minute recall, our brain sends the indications that it makes us feel that yes, I'm closed, and we just sit like this. Not only this, but also so many other things are here. While talking, if you start doing like this scratching also shows that you are thinking. If you put your finger on your head, it means that you are trying to recall something. These all are called the gestures. These gestures are so important in life, and having the right gesture blends our verbal communication, and it makes us more effective. That communication is effective or non-effective by so many things, and one of them is kinesis. Kinesis, I have already told about that kinesis comprises these three things: facial expressions, gesture, and posture. So your kinesis makes your language more participating. Like if you say I'm happy and there's no any flicker of a smile on your face, how can it be happy? You require this kinesis, knowingly as well as unknowingly. If we talk about posture, that is the way of sitting and walking, which we call gait. Posture is also the gait. A good posture is much more than looking good. It helps you in feeling good while reducing stress on your spine. A correct posture is important because it makes us look more alert and confident. It helps us to breathe better. Correct posture increases the feel good hormone. Yes, maybe possible many persons, those are from biology, are sitting here and they will be saying, so there's no any hormone like feel good hormone in our body. But yes, sometimes when you are happy, certain hormones make you happy or even happier. And in my language, or in for my presentation, I use the word feel good hormone for that. So sitting in a right way makes your impression very strong. Walking in a right way, standing in a right way makes your impression very, very positive. While sitting, if you just lean down, it shows that you are just a sort of lethargic person. You are not erected, means your spine is just bending. So facial expressions, gesture, and posture. Clear? Now, types of posture, open posture, closed posture, and mirroring. In open posture, your partner faces you directly with hands apart on the arms of the chair on palms facing upwards. Remember, this is my all dear listeners. Open posture, closed posture, and mirroring. And why one reason or another reason, for one reason or another reason, for one thing or another thing. We all have to go, or we all have to be the part of these sort of things. In your open posture, your partner faces you directly with the hands apart on the arms of the chair or palm facing upwards. Closed posture, seated in a closed position, will have his arms, folded legs, crossed, or be positioned at a slight angle from the person with whom they are interacting. Like you might have seen people sitting like this. People sitting like this. This is basically closed posture. You might have noticed that people, when they stand up, they just shift their leg position. This is basically the closed posture. And mirroring means it indicates interest and approval among people. For example, if one partner sits with his legs crossed, this might be replicated in the other person's position immediately. Like you might, in physics, you might have heard that theory of simple pendulum. This mirroring is the same. This mirroring is the same. When you sit in that particular way, in few seconds you will find that another person sitting close to you will be sitting in the same way. The hand movements that you are having, he will also start having the same sort of. And this is called mirroring. This is called mirroring. I hope what we were discussing is quite clear. Now let us come for the next one. Next one is oculesics. It is also called oculesics. Oculesics means it is the study of eye movement during communication. It is the study of eye movement during your communication, means eye contact. What I mean to say by eye contact, that I suppose there's some echo. There's some echo. Yes, I'm sorry. As we were talking about oculesics, it is the study of eye movement during the communication. Eyes are to be set the index of mind. This is true because without realizing it, we make a lot of eye movements during the conversation. We stare or look down. Like if you meet someone and you start gazing the person, it goes a bit different, and gazing is something different. When there's a pleasure or appreciation in your looking, that is a sort of gazing. But when there's something negative in your looking, that is called staring. Very close differences are there in your oculosis positions. You will have to understand that oculosis is basically what you say, that you are not saying through the words, but you are saying through the eyes. Your tongue is mute, your eyes are unmute. Whatever you wanted to say through your tongue, that you are saying through your eyes. That is called oculesics. Hope this oculesics is quite convenient to all. Then we come haptics. Well, this haptics is always a very much important, risky in your non-verbal communication. Many of the lady participants are sitting here in our e-conference. Here we just put a question in front of them. Please don't answer. Try to answer yourself. When you were talking to your colleague, when you were talking to your subordinate, when you were talking to your some of the friends, and his touch made you uncomfortable, why it was there? Why that touch was making you uncomfortable? Because that uncomfort was due to a sort of language that person was transmitting through his touch. That is handshakes, back slapping, hugging, a pat on the shoulder like this. Proper handshake conveys so many different meanings. Like you might have noticed, some people when they handshake, they are very dull, and it indicates that yes, this person is not willing to take this relation further. Patting on the shoulder conveys the meaning of appreciation. Hugging shows that you are really enthusiastic, you are really happy to have someone close to you. These sort of indications, these sort of communication that you are, all these sort of signals that you are communicating through your body without single word saying something, and that is called haptics. That is called. Now let us go for the next. When we move for the next, then we come at about very much common word in this COVID period. You might have heard mask and the distance of 2 yards. Yes, what is it? Which we used to call social distancing. What actually this social distancing means? Basically, our distancing says something. The physical distance between two individuals is also the part of your communication, and it conveys in what comfort zone you are with me. There are 4 different distances in communication. First is called intimate distance, which is of less than 45 centimeters. Then personal distance between 45 centimeter to 120 centimeter. Social distance more than 120 centimeter to 360 centimeter, and public distance more than 360 centimeters. Basically, distance between 122 centimeter to 360 centimeter means nearly 4 feet to nearly 12 feet is called social distance. That's why you might have heard the distance of 6 feet. It was taken for social distancing concept during this pandemic. This is that social distancing which we are talking. So while talking to someone, don't be very close to that person, because the person might feel uncomfortable because you are just crossing the social distance. Yes, when you are talking to your friends, you are normally in personal distance, but when you are with someone very special one or your family members, you are in the intimate distance. This is basically the proxemics. Then paralanguage comes. This refers to the non-verbal part of the language during oral communication. When we talk, apart from actual speech, the receiver gets many inputs about us. Our voice reveals our age, our gender, our native place, mother tongue, our level of education, emotions, and stability of the emotions and maturity sort of thing. This paralanguage includes the volume of speech, accent, and pronunciation. The pace, the pitch, and intonation give innumerable signals about us. This paralanguage basically is intonation and voice modulation. This paralanguage is the emphasis over the particular things, also the pronunciation. This paralanguage is your stress on the one thing or the another. And this paralanguage makes the meaning of the sentence. Because when you talk about the written language or written English or written extract, the symbols gives the meaning of that written extract. But when you're speaking, when you're talking, that time your paralanguage gives the actual meaning of your sentence. This only word what indicates the surprise and what indicates the caution. The only thing, the only difference which is really determined, it is through the paralanguage. Yes, important one, that is appearance. Everybody sitting here must be having or must be in a very proper attire. Why that everybody is in a very proper attire? What is the reason? Because they are that much sensible what to wear, what not to wear, how to present yourself, and this is overall called appearance. We have heard and read millions of times. The first impression is the last impression. Study says that the first 30 seconds conversation decides that whether it will have a desired outcome or not. And the needless to say that look or the looks contributes a lot to this outcome. People have become much more conscious about dressing up or the grooming than they used to be decades ago. Why this happened? Because now they have realized the importance of the appearance. Now they have realized the importance of your attire, of your clothes. Basically, clothes are not the clothes. The clothes are how you present yourself to a crowd or to the viewers or the listeners or the watchers or to the audience or the viewers. But his appearance is an important part of your language. No doubt it is a part of the paralanguage, but it complements the language. Hope you all are well comfortable and convenient with these things. Now the economics. Time is a very important tool. Like at present, I'm seeing that very limited participants participate in the online classes or online communication or online things. Why? Because earlier when there used to be the specific timing of the things, they were well designed, they were well planned. But when it comes for online mode, people get or people start anytime, anywhere. It might be not very comfortable time for the person, and that hampers an effective communication. So this chronomics is basically the time tool used for effective communication, like punctuality, length and timing of the meeting, waiting time, etc., etc. So these were certain things of communication and non-verbal communication. And I'm very sure that the people, those who are present here, they enjoyed this session. They had gone through with this session very properly. And I'm very sure if we go with this, we'll be really benefited by our non-verbal communication